The Biorenewables Development Centre is an open access translation and scale-up facility. We support our customers from micros to SMEs to global corporates to perform research and development and scale up of their technologies to take them from the lab bench to the market.
The Bioscience innovation team is really the biology arm of the BDC, and within our team we have experts in microbiology, fermentation, anaerobic digestion, protein purification, molecular biology and plant sciences. A project might start off being desk-based. It could be, for example, some market research or stakeholder engagement, or looking at the composition of materials and looking at the ways we can add value to those components, and then take that into the lab, looking at methodology development, for example around fermentation or anaerobic digestion, and looking at the scale-up of those processes.
The PDU is the chemistry, chemical engineering focused part of the business. We specialise in a whole range of areas, from pre-processing, chemical processing, more novel processing such as microwaves, critical fluids, thermochemical processing, downstream processing including chemical processing, distillation, solvent extraction and biochemical methods for purification and separation. So we work to develop processes with customers. Sometimes that involves going backwards to go forwards, so we go back and do some laboratory scale work and then help them go to pilot scale and beyond. Our equipment is typically small commercial scale, which means they can move from their current laboratory scale to something that's more production focused, scalable in the future. Being customer-led helps, so helping them get to their minimum viable product as quickly and cost effectively as possible. Inevitably during a process things will change, things will move, and then we can decide at that point whether to stop, do something slightly different, or carry on the plan that we were originally on. We find that helps them reach their personal targets, their investor targets, their goals more quickly and effectively.
This is the Biogas lab, where we carry out a lot of our anaerobic digestion and dark fermentation experiments. So here we have our batch system. This is a 1 litre system where we can add in our inoculum and feedstocks and see how much biogas we'll produce. So these are our continuous systems. These are 10 litre systems that mimic a real world digester. So we can put in our feedstocks through the bottom and continuously feed that through, measuring the biogas we produce. We also have a lot of wraparound analytical equipment. We have downstream processing and pre-treatment facilities.
These are our plant growth cabinets. We've got 2 of these. We do the smaller scale plant trials here, normally germination trials or trials up to about 8 weeks, depending on the plant we grow. We also have 2 small scale vertical farms that run like hydroponic flood and drain systems. We can test a wide range of things, different fertilisers, comparing bio-based against commercial fertilisers, or different biochars, biostimulants, and change the conditions to suit whatever plant we need to grow.
So we are currently in the Microbial biotechnology lab. This is where we start our scale-up of fermentation processes. So we can help SMEs scale up from shake flask to bioreactor. The first step on that process would be to use our half-litre bioreactors, which we have 8 of. That allows us to run design of experiments to optimise fermentation processes, and from there we can then scale up to our larger vessels. So we have 2 5-litre vessels, and this allows us to run fermentations in duplicate, and we can do batch, fed batch, and we can also do continuous fermentations depending on what the client needs. I think what makes us unique at the BDC is that, as well as carrying out the upstream processing, we can also carry out the downstream processing through our process development unit.
So we're stood in front of 2 of the ventilator cabinets here at the BDC, where we can wheel equipment in, and it's ventilated so that you can handle flammable solvents or dangerous chemicals. So currently at the moment we've got the 10 litre vessel and the tangential flow filtration piece of equipment here. So this is just an example of some of the hardware that SMEs can access. So this is the smaller scale typically of what we do. This is a 10 litre vessel. We've got a 20 and 100 litre glass line vessel. So we're in the FlexiLab. So the idea of this space is that it's an open space with access to things like steam, compressed air, chilled water. So if there's a particular piece of equipment where it needs those services, a client can bring their equipment in, or we can hire a piece of equipment for a particular project, and they've got the services, the power, everything to use it here, along with our help if needed. Behind me here is the 65 litre glass line vessel. So with this, We've got a range of glassware at the other end of it where we can do a range of chemistries. Again, it's at quite a meaningful scale, and we can do things like crystallization, distillation, evaporation, fractionation to recover various high-value chemicals from a range of feeds. So this is a unique offering. The fact that it's in an open access centre, and SMEs and businesses can use this piece of equipment. With our expertise, we can help them develop their process.
The area we're standing in here is the thermochemistry area, which is where most of our furnaces are. We've got our retort furnace, quite a flexible furnace in that we can either do one sample or do a range of samples up to 4, depending on how large volume you require. Anything that we develop on that furnace, we take onto our tube furnace, which can take one static or continuous in terms of temperatures. Both furnaces can go up to about 1000 degrees C, and both are inerted with nitrogen through our gas generators. We can use carbon dioxide. Anything that's bottled, we can put into both furnaces. The only advantage potentially of the retort furnace or the box furnace is that we can do steam activation, which we can't do on a tube. Those are traditional furnaces. At the far end, we've got a microwave furnace. That works a bit differently in that it's generally at a lower temperature, and we try and use microwaves to try and produce a biochar in that instance. So roughly, the take-home messages, we can get up to about 3 kilos input of char, which produces roughly about 1 kilo output.
Adaptavate operate in the built environment, and we are fighting climate change with carbon change. We do this by redirecting CO2 flows into our novel processes and our unique products. The team at the BDC genuinely feel like a part of our team. Although they're at the other end of the country, the nature and the length of our collaboration has meant that over the years our teams have become closer and closer. The technical team at the BDC really understand our core technology, its challenges, and how they can play a part in developing the products of the future. What started as an initial conversation 6 years ago has now been a strong and flourishing partnership.
So Azotic is in the biological nitrogen fixation business. So we're in an agricultural business. We use biotechnology to produce a microbial nitrogen fixer, a little bit like a rhizobia for legumes, but it's a non-rhizobia, and it basically substitutes for fertilizer. One of the reasons we moved here was because we had access to the BDC and also access to the University of York through the BDC. So for a small biotech company, it's really important that we have that support. Very important at the beginning and even more important now because it just adds to our capacity. We don't have to invest everything in our own capacity. We can utilise the BDC. We've grown tremendously over the last 4 years. So we've grown in terms of people. We've grown from about 4 or 5 scientists. I think we're now about 20 or 30. It would have taken us twice as long to get to the same place, I think, if we didn't have access to the BDC.
Working with the BDC starts with a conversation. The team here is ready to sit down and discuss the needs of anyone who might want to work with us. We want to make sure that we're a good fit for you and that we've got the right technology offer for all of our customers. So from the earliest stage, we connect experts to experts. And we've got a business partnership team here as well who'll help to just manage the relationship.
There's a number of ways that we can work with businesses beyond the technical support that we offer. Businesses might want to know a bit more about the market that they're going into, so we can undertake a market research study. We might look at a feasibility study for a particular area of their product development or service development. One area that a lot of businesses need support with is understanding the customer need for their product and understanding the value of that product to the customer. So a piece of customer discovery work is often really helpful for the businesses that we work with. A really valuable part of our service is coming in to meet the team. Now, we've got a fabulous team of chemists, biologists, business partnership people like ourselves. You know, when we get the customer in front of the team and the problem-solving skills, capabilities, the know-how, we can really sort of brainstorm some of the challenges that the client's facing.
Everyone's really keen on making a difference. The projects that we do really aren't box ticking exercises. Everyone is really engaged in trying to support that SME to develop those bio-based and sustainable products and processes.
BDC's got a proven history of more than 10 years of helping to take innovation to the marketplace, and all of those projects started with a discussion. If anyone wants to work with us, they just need to get in touch and have that first conversation.